had almost 150,000 debt at that time. By this time, I actually already invested whatever the money I had into a couple of properties by this time. What if I can make one sale a month? I will be equal to my salary. What if I can make 2 sales a month? I will be able to double my salary. That means I can pay off my debts.
I mean, I guess you're right. You know, you like sales and you're pretty good at sales. You've done pretty good with sales since you come here. So you're making like $1 million a year in GCI. What is your team ranked in, like top 25 now in Canada?
Yeah, top 26 in Canada, yeah.
You made a voluntary choice to cut the rope, burn the bridges, and go full-time into real estate. So you had that pretty good job. It's paying the bills. And I vividly remember we had this conversation and I said, I gave you all the options. I said, I've seen people do this, but if you do it, you have to go all in. And you literally have full commitment and never stop until it gets there. What's going on, guys? I have an incredible guest on here today. Aditya Soma is on the podcast. If you don't know who this is, give me a second here real quick. Let me kind of go through all his talking points. So he's got a massive social media following. We're going to be talking about social media for real estate agents and investors today and how he's used it to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio, $15+ million in real estate owned, 50+ rental units. We're talking about how he's become a 5-time icon agent here at eXp Realty using social media. We're going to talk about his social media growth in general. He's got over 40,000 subscribers or 40,000 followers on Instagram, 30,000 on YouTube. And that's how he's grown his businesses. We also both actually got connected in our relationship to each other years ago through social media. And now here we are on social media again. So we're going to be talking about that a lot today and how he's built one of the most successful businesses here in Canada through the eXp Realty business model. So let's get you on here, Aditya, and talk about success in business, family. I know you just had a big win, not just in business, but you just had a new addition to your family, which is exciting because I've seen you from the get-go. But you also have an incredible comeback story because you immigrated over here. And I know when we connected, you were still working a 9-to-5 job and you made a very big decision, which was to quit and go full time and cut the cord and burn the bridges. And let's kind of talk about that a little bit because that's a big decision I think a lot of people have. And it worked out really, really well for you because now here you are a few years later, millionaire. I see you crushing it in the gym, staying fit, building a family. So I'm inspired by you. I know you're going to inspire a lot of people here today. So Aditya, let's get on the show. How's it going? How's it going, man? How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you, Connor. You know, I really appreciate for such a humble introduction there. You know, I was thinking, you know, when you're giving the introduction, actually, you're one of the very, very few people who know me before, like when I was completely broke. And you
before you're a celebrity. Before you're a big deal now.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's talk about maybe how we got connected. So, you know, I don't even remember, you were watching my YouTube channel or how did we get connected? And then we'll talk about that decision and then we'll go into social media and all that, because that is a big decision. I think a lot of agents that are either working 9-to-5, trying to figure out, is real estate for them, either on the agent side or the investment side, or really any business. Do you make that jump into entrepreneurship and cut the cord? Or do you kind of try to stagger it and transition out, meaning slowly build it as part-time on the side until you kind of get it up and move out? So those are the two options. And you chose to just cut the cord, but maybe kind of recap how we got connected, and this will open up us to go into the social media conversation a little bit later and showing how powerful it is.
Yeah. So, you know, it's interesting how we got connected because, you know, you're in States, I'm in Canada. Yep. We don't know each other, but when I was writing my exams, when I started my exams in Canada, it takes like 6 months to get the real estate license. So when I started my exams, I started my YouTube. So I was on the YouTube all the time. I was learning, you know, how people do the YouTube, especially real estate people. So I'm following, you know, multiple people, one of them or you, because you talk a lot about pretty much what I'm doing, like, you know, investing in burst strategies, you know, flipping properties, how to buy cash flowing properties, all those things, you know, you talk the same things. And I was following you. And at this point, we didn't know each other. I think you texted me on Facebook, literally at a very good time. Literally, I was about to join Keller Williams on Monday, and you DM'd me on a Saturday. And as soon as I heard about eXp, like you said, you know, do you have 5 minutes? Like, you know, I'll just share some opportunity with you regarding the brokerage. I'm like, you know, I looked at your name and, I know this guy because you have a good size YouTube following. You know, someone who actually doing what I want to do is sharing some opportunity. Let me look at it. And then I think we jumped in the weekend. And I was so excited after I heard about EXP. I'm like, I couldn't sleep. This sounds very interesting because I was in network marketing. I know how network marketing works, and this is like it's like for realtors, bonus opportunities sounded like so interesting. So
Yep.
that's how we got into the EXP.
Yeah, actually, now I remember that. I totally forgot because like you put like a video on your channel when it was like
Yes,
1,000 subscribers saying that you're getting a real estate license, and
yes,
that kind of led to it. But yeah, and then you made the right decision, move quickly, and also like so you were working in tech, right? Or
yeah. So
you
I
were doing
was
something
a
with tech.
software developer. Yeah, so I was a
Yeah.
software developer. By
Okay.
this time, when I got my when I started my exams, I already made my mind. I was financially very weak. I had a almost 150,000 debt at that time. Because of some family responsibilities,
Yeah.
I borrowed a lot of money. That was there, and by this time, I actually already invested whatever the money I left I had into a couple of properties by this time. So I knew about real estate investing, and I started social media, and I have this debt, and work job was pretty decent. It's I was making 80,000 per year at that time in 2000. This is in 2018, when I was thinking of making a decision. I got my license in 2019. So I had two options, right? Like you said, I can go part time, build it. But for me, my instincts were telling me, like, I'm not great at software. I'm not great at software. For some reason, I have, like, this instincts. I can be a good salesperson. So that's why from the day I started my exams, I started my social media because I knew I don't know anyone here, no family, no friends who own homes here. So pretty much I'm like a stranger in this country where don't know much many people. That means sales going to be hard. So I have to build some kind of pipeline. And when I was learning about all this, how top agents doing using this social media, so everything pointed towards, like, for someone like me who have no connections, the best place is to build audience who can trust with me. So that's why I started with social media, and I got my license. I said to myself, you know what, I'm not a guy who can handle multiple boats and become expert in one of them. I was like 80,000 per month. It's $4,000 after taxes, 4,400. So if I don't work for next 1 year, I'm losing this 60, 70,000. So my debts goes from 100,000 to 160,000. But what if I can make one sale a month? I will be equal to my salary. What if I can make two sales a month? I will be able to double my salary. That means I can pay off my debts. So if I do it well with the job, no matter what I do, it's going to take me like 3, 4 years to pay my debts. But with the sales, because there is no ceiling, there is a chances that I can, if I do very well, I can pay my debts quickly. I can continue on my investing journey. So that was the thought process in my mind. Of course, I was scared, really scared to death. But thanks to my wife, she was always like, "Bro, you can do it. I know, I trust you. You're always about. You always talked about sales. How much you love to talk to people. How excited you are when you're with people versus when you're with the computer." So that gave me a lot of confidence. I'm like, fear is there, and with the confidence, I took the leap of faith, continued on that journey, building the social media, and and I think because I was already an investor, I was buying a couple of rental properties. So I started with a niche. I'm only talking about investing. So automatically I started to attract people who were interested to do what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So that's
Yep.
how I jumped in full time.
Yeah. No, the good. I mean, and it's such a big blessing, when you have a supportive family and especially a spouse. I've seen this with a lot of successful partners, and they can help you keep going. And then if they're on the
Yeah,
opposite side and they're pushing against you, it can really hurt you long term. But I mean, I guess you're right. You already like sales, and you're pretty good with sales. You've done pretty good with sales since you come here. So you make like $1 million a year in GCI. What is your team ranked in, like top 25 now in Canada
yeah,
for
top
all
26 in Canada.
agents?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just incredible because when we met, I vividly remember, we have a lot of commonalities, right? So this is one of the main things, like when it comes to working with partners, tracking, like, so we both had debt, which we both started out in the
yeah,
same spot.
yeah,
We're both real estate investor mindset. looking
Yeah.
at a brokerage to hold our license at as an investor, but also one that's global through technology and social media driven that we can scale across a big marketplace. But the thing that, so we have a lot of the same things, but the thing that I respect for you is that in my journey from coming out of my hole from debt, yeah, I didn't have a choice. I was forced to go into that direction. Like my online poker career, some of you guys, my story disappeared. I had to do that. You made a voluntary choice to cut the rope, burn the bridges, and go full time into real estate. So you had that pretty good job. It's paying the bills. And I vividly remember we had this conversation, and I said, I gave you all the options. I said, I've seen people do this, but if you do it, you have to go all in, and you
Yeah.
literally have full commitment and never stop until it gets there. Because I've seen people do that and then kind of tiptoe in and get overwhelmed by the pressure, and then they sit down, and it can actually become a very bad thing. So let's go in kind of to your decision-making process to quit your job a little bit further. And then another cool thing is that you did, as soon as you got done, or as soon as you got into the business and became successful, you paid off your dad's debt, which I remember was a big deal for you. So family is a big part of your success. And I see that happen with a lot of business owners. But let's go into the mindset, that decision-making process. Like, you kind of broke it down a little bit, but if someone's thinking right now, do they quit their job to go full-time? What advice would you give them? And then let's go into how you actually started your business, where your first leads came from, and kind of how you grew it, and using social media and all that.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely it's like, look at any successful person. They're not doing multiple things, right? Like they're doing one thing and becoming an expert in that area. That's one thing I have seen through my research. By this time, when I was getting my license, by this time, I was already reading a lot of books. Like, so mindset was built because I was reading a lot of books from 2017. And also I was networking with a lot of successful individuals. I was going to networking events across Canada, even some of them in US too. So I was meeting people who actually made it, not the people in my circle, my friends, all those people. So these two things. And also I had my realtor who was helping me to buy investment properties since 2017. They also became very good friends with me, and they actually 5 or 6 years younger than me were investing, and they were doing full-time real estate sales and investing. So I think having this connections where people actually doing it well, and that gave me the confidence. So I cannot speak about someone who is like, you, if you don't have any knowledge, you don't know what you're doing, but you have a very good job and you have somehow passion for real estate, but you have a family to support, then starting part-time doesn't hurt. You can definitely start part-time, but do it as a full-time. Like I have a couple of agents in my team who does 3-4 transactions every month, who started as a part-time agents, and as soon as they replace their income in the first year, that's when, because I told them, like, if I help you to replace your income, like literally the same income while working part-time, would you quit your job? If they say yes, then only I took into my team. And my first client who did that, as soon as I showed him, like, he can make the first part-time within the, I think, 8 months, he was able to replace his income. Within 1 year, he actually doubled his income with the part-time. So I'm like, you know what? Now you're doubling your income, but now you're still spending 8 hours of your time somewhere else. So if you want to continue this journey, I want you to quit. And he quit. Today, like, he's one of the best agent in Win City. So it depends on your personality, right? Depends on where you're standing financially, what kind of risk you can take. So for me, I couldn't do two things. For me, I want to like go all in, so that I don't have to think about, because if I am at the IT job and I'm not giving my best, I'm feeling deep down not so good about myself. So that will impact on my productivity as well on the sales. So that's why, like, I thought about all the worst case scenarios. I just need to probably survive for next 1 year. If I don't do it well, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to my job. Someone will take me as IT guy anyways. So little bit more self questioning, self processing is what can help you to make that call. But I can promise, like, if you go all in, man, that's the best thing, because now you're completely focused. You're only thinking about, how do I bring more leads, how do I convert. So now your skills will improve way quicker if you can take that risk. If you have some kind of balls to take that risk, it's
Pressure.
all worth it.
Yeah, so I mean, just out of curious, so like for one, like also these guys, Aditya lives in Canada, but if you want to join us at EXP and work with Aditya and his team, you can partner with him anywhere in the world that EXP operates. There's all 50 states, every Canadian province, and we're now in over 20 nations. And the new agent success with his team, as you just mentioned, we've seen this happen. A lot of agents go over there, and whatever you're doing, man, you sure help them get their business off the ground pretty quickly. But let's kind of go into that the decision making process, like after it. Was there any doubt once you made that decision, like once you made the jump, because now you pulled the trigger, you walked away from your job?
Mhm.
Was there any doubt where you thought you made the wrong decision, or did you know it was the right decision the whole time? And then I know for me, when I was up against the wall and I was in debt and I had all this pushing down on me, it was that pressure that in that fear that caused and anger and everything I was dealing with that created the energy level that made me so determined to go out there and read the books and go to like just never stop. And it was that kind of pressure that kind of made me
Yeah.
push through. But
I mean,
what?
definitely it's like the fire under my butt, right? Like, I have this fire. If I don't pay off my debts, I'm going to keep on staying in debt. I think biggest fire for me was always my family was always in debt. Like till this time, like 2020, 2019, we are talking. Until 2019, we were in a debt. Like from my childhood, we were never family together just because of finances. So I knew how much we like as a family suffered. So it's not like the self doubts were always there. We are human, right? Like, the fear will be there. But I think especially in the first year when I got in, I was not really thinking about, oh, is this going to work out or not? I was only focusing on what can I do. So I was like, okay, how many videos can I do every day? How many new people can I meet? How many properties can I see every day? How many offers can I write? I was only
Mhm.
thinking about this because I have this fire under me. Like, I want to make financially, well, because now not just me, it's my whole family is depending on that. My mom, dad, my sister, the whole family who haven't
Yeah,
seen a better life for until this time. Like, my dad worked his ass off. Have you, if you have seen some YouTube videos on about how Dubai laborers live, small room, 20 people. My dad was one of them in 7 years. I haven't seen him. 7 years in that. So those things always was back of my mind. Nothing worse than living in the depth forever. And I have seen that in my for my dad. So I don't want to be in that depth. So that
yeah,
means if I continue in the job, no way I can get out quickly for next 5 years. But this one here, I'm seeing an opportunity. I'm seeing, this opportunity, and I was only thinking about opportunities. Once in a while, the fear kick in, but because I was putting in a lot of hours in creating content, a lot of hours in showing the properties, finding the good opportunities, and I was going into this networking events, and I was very active on social media, so I didn't even had to go and look for a client. As soon as I got my license, I had 3 people waited for me. My first client, I told you, my agent, who is my agent now, he waited for me or 3 or 2 months, and he waited to buy the property. He said, I'm buying only with you. I want to be your first client. Because in the past, like 1 year or 2 years earlier, I helped him in some area where he needed help. We became friends,
absolutely.
and he
Yeah,
saw me posting on social media how serious I am about real estate. So he's like, what, I want to be your first client. I'll wait for your license. Like, that was a blessing. People like that gave me even more confidence. So I never had a day where, like, where is my new client coming? I never had it that day. I always had the people coming in because of the connections I built during this time, since I'm in the social media and networking
mhm.
events. So people were coming. It's just my job to find the right property for them, so the sale will happen. And one thing, even though I'm in so much financial pressure, I always like made sure I'm working for the client, not for the commission. That was the biggest differentiator for me, to continue to thrive. Like, the market is crazy now. Like, not
Yeah,
many agents actually making even one sale, and my team made 23 sales last month. That's in Windsor market. 23 sales is like probably one of the top three
yeah,
teams. So, and we've been in the business only for 4.5 years,
yeah. So
because
when
of
like,
that basic core value that I teach the same thing to my team and for myself. Like, I never a day like think about the commission. Just, okay,
yeah,
what does the client need? how can we deliver that?
Yeah. When you think about like relationships over money as compared to money over relationships,
Exactly.
especially in a tough, it's the right mindset to grow a business anytime. But really in the business world that we're in right now, in a stress external environment of a
Yep.
recession where people's mindsets get broken, frustrations
Yep.
get up there quickly, anxiety and anger and all this type of stuff. And so if you don't have a strong relationship and you're not developing those relationships and people are surface level because it's all about just
Yep.
money and people are stabbing each other in the back, like this is when businesses fall apart, families fall apart. And so if you guys are catching the theme from everything he's talking about, it's family, it's important, how he works with his partners, his clients from for his beginning of his business came from people he had just done well with. They were willing to wait to get his license. And a very similar thing happened to me, which is, and I urge you guys to listen to what we're talking about here. Live your life in a way that you're doing good just to do good, and don't ask
Yeah.
anything in return. And in return, you're
Yep.
going to get more than you would have if you asked for it, probably. Because the first quite a bit of agents I added to EXP, I didn't even have to explain to them what the EXP business model was,
Yeah.
what it really was about. I just said, I'm doing this. And they said, I'm in. And that's because I'd spent, 5-7 years developing relationships with people, helping them with their other businesses, being a good friend to
Yep.
them. And then when I decided to join a business that I had not known in the mind, it was not like, hey, 5 years later, I'm going to ask you into an opportunity. It was, I did the right thing then. You help your friend, their tire goes out, you go pick them up and things like that. Later in life, this is when everything manifests and
Yep.
all your results come together. So just treat people well, guys, and especially right now when emotions are high and frustrations are high. Those who have emotional control and can treat people with a positive mindset and stay in a positive conversation pattern instead of going off in the weeds and complaining and being whining, you're gonna have a lot more people want to come to you and stay around you
Yep.
because everybody's negative right now. But well, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
one of my favorite saying in that lines, right? Like you put it in a very well words. Just one saying always I keep on reminding me. It's like, it's not how what kind of things you did to your any people. People will remember, is what they remember is how you made them feel.
For sure.
If you made
Yeah.
them feel like you're important to them, they always remember you.
Dude, I literally just did a morning training call for a group of agents. There's about 20 agents on this call, and that's literally what we went into, which is you communicate in 3 ways: the words that are said, the actual words, the script, the tonality, the delivery of those words, the emotion, the emphasis, how you deliver those words, and then the nonverbal body language communication. And really, the script and the words is only about 10%. The delivery of the words, the tonality in it's 45%, and body language is 45%, which most people don't think about. There's a study called 10-45-45. So when we're
Yep.
talking to someone, our goal is to just make them feel good. And
Yep.
when we're talking to someone, really we're transferring energy to them. We're not really throwing words across. And if you understand what energy is, we vibrate. We're not going off and
Yep.
deep in on law vibration on this one and all this type of stuff. But my main
But
goal is to make, when you speak on stage or when you come to a call like this or you have an in-person meeting, make them feel good. Don't brown
yeah.
nose them, but say nice stuff. Say something nice about them. Compliment their partner or their spouse. And get engage them in the conversations. So like we were talking about the example on that call was how one of my partners lost a 20-person brokerage because he did the opposite. He made them feel bad.
Yep.
So the husband had been back and forth with him for months and had decided to join. Now the wife kind of stayed behind the scenes. She came to a meeting, and if you guys are ever in a meeting with multiple people, the primary decision maker is going to have that third party, the one around them, the other spouse, other partners, is a gatekeeper. And if you don't show the gatekeeper respect, they're working against you, but they could work for you. So what happened was we back and forth got the husband to agree. When the wife came, he called her the wrong name 3 times at the lunch. And what happened was he disrespected her. And what do you think is going to happen when they get in the car later? He didn't even know my name. How this is going to be the right business decision to align with? So he made her feel bad, and that's the decision to go opposite. Whereas if he had respected her, engaged her in the conversation, said her right name, made her feel good, and when she left and she feels good, she's going to say, I like those guys, or I like that person. And when they like that person, they want to be around that person again. And when they don't like that person, they want to run away from them, right? So this is so important. The main thing you're trying to do is make people remember you and feel good. But let's go into like social media. So, and how you got your business off the ground. So I know specifically, let's talk about how important one video is. You had that one video, right? I think it was, you did a tour of the city or whatever, and you want to maybe talk about
that I think I did after a few months. The first video I made was like, here is the reasons why what I like about Canada. So I didn't know what to talk. And my simple formula at that point, even now, is like, what are some of the common things that people are asking me, and making content around that. Because if someone asking me again and again same question, so probably there are more other people who wants to know about it.
Right.
So the the common question I was getting at that point in time is like, a lot of my cousins from states and from India, they were planning to move to Canada. They were asking like, what do you think about Canada? What are good things? What are bad things? I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me make a video. Now I share that video with people. And then slowly I started talking about, how I got my first property. What were some challenges I faced? How did I find money to buy the property? How did I qualify for the property? And then I slowly started talking about, which neighborhoods I'm buying in, which neighborhoods to stay away from. And that Windsor city tour, that got very popular. At least in Windsor, a lot of people, whenever they search for Windsor, Ontario, that video used to pop up. For first 3 years, it was always in the top 5 list. So I think a couple of videos about Windsor, cost of living, pros and cons of living in Windsor, Ontario, and this Windsor tour. Few videos around Windsor, they stayed in the top 5 to 10 list in first 3 years. So my leads were like always coming from there, because whoever looking to move into the city, they were finding these videos. And when they see some kind of connectivity with me, people who can relate to me, people who think, oh, this guy actually gave some honest opinion, let me call him up, let me find out more details. Oh, this guy sounds more interesting. And of course, I had like 30-40,000 views, I got 5 leads. But it's the mindset is like, even if I get one lead out of it, I'm only shooting for 1 hour, editing for another 2 hours. I hardly spend 5 hours of my time, no money. At this point, I didn't even hire anyone. Me and my wife, we are shooting ourselves on the phone, editing and
Yeah.
posting. Very basic editing, very basic equipment. Audio was horrible. So still, we were able to get business.
Yeah, you just like me, man. Like people just don't start and they just don't do it. And you did it,
Yeah.
and I did it, and I was bad lighting, bad audio, and I
So,
started the channel the exact
that
same way.
that's the key. I don't want to rotate my camera, but I have a quotation right on the wall. It says, the only way to finish is to start.
Yep, and
That's where many
because
people
what it,
stop.
yeah, or I'll say it in a different way. Put some risk in the game, meaning, put some time or put some money in. So, saw this at like a Robert Kiyosaki event. I was just talking about this the other day, where people don't take time to learn something unless they kind of get their foot in the door and put some risk in. So, like, I didn't take time to learn anything about crypto or anything until I bought a little bit of crypto. If you guys are not taking the
Mm.
time to learn about stocks, go put 10 grand on stock, and I'm pretty sure you're going to start paying attention to it a little bit
Yeah.
more. You want to learn about multifamily apartment investing, go find a syndication and put some money into it. You're going to pay attention to what happens to your investments. So just get going and then react off of what's happening once you start that
Yeah.
forward momentum and forward motion. But I started my YouTube channel the same way as Aditya did. And I've seen this happen with a lot of people that got onto YouTube. It was a sanity and emotion issue and a time management issue, meaning I had the same people asking me the same questions over and over and over. And I needed a video to send to them, but I needed a hosting service. So I was like, maybe I can get on YouTube, and I filmed a video. So now I just had to send it to people. So I didn't have to
Yeah.
explain it one to one, one to one, one to one. Now I could do one to many. And that's the key to understanding success in business is duplication. If you're doing
Yeah.
things that can't be given as one to a multiplier effect outside of you, you're not going to scale quickly. So duplication and leverage is crucial to scale. But and also through getting one video like that, one video can change your business and your channel. So he got one video to get his business off the ground, started doing a bunch of deals. How did you move forward after that? So we'll talk more about social media, but so you used your video to get the first leads, but then as those leads came, how did you work with them? And that led to referral business, or that led to future
Mhm.
clients, and it kind of
Yeah.
spider webbed out. Yeah.
So I mean, one thing, the two important pieces that I always kept with me together, going well. One is like, I was consistently active on social media, so posting these videos and now sharing them with people already I know, which is Facebook, Instagram, emails. So people are indirectly, I'm following up with them kind of every day. And also having this core value of serving the client, having a good relation, and making sure, helping them out without any intentions about the money, more like helping them. So these two combined kind of continued to pour me leads in, because
Mhm.
people I work with, they always had good things to say. I have like 150 plus reviews on the Rate My Agent, because every client we work with, like 90% of the times, they leave with a very very good feeling that these guys really put their heart and soul to help us.
Yeah.
So that helped us to continue to get the business. Of course, that referral business will take time to see, right? But a lot of the times, people don't see is like whatever the time you put in even before getting into business, which is for me, before I got into sales, I was doing networking and investing for last before that 2 years before that, from 2017. So when I was doing this, I was building connections already. So I'm making friends on my Facebook and Instagram, the other investors from different cities, because I was going to these networking events, right? And also, when I'm investing, I'm making friends with the other realtors, I'm making friends with the contractors. So all these connections kind of coming together in my, slowly I started to see them coming together in the first year, especially that the social media boosted that. The friends who are, who are already my friends, if I would have just called them and say, hey, I just got my license, can you work with me, that would be less impactful comparative to I posted a video and saying, hey, I just made a video about this topic. So I used to put on my WhatsApp status, all the statuses, so people can see, all my friends can see what I'm doing. So slowly I started to see that people, who already know me, now trusting me more on the financial side, because they're seeing what is my thought process, as a investor, as a realtor. What do I know about neighborhoods? What do I know about properties? What do I know about investments? So it's kind of hard to differentiate both of them separately. They're together boosted the business.
Yeah. Well, I think like what's your take on this? Like, I'm a big believer in conviction intent. That if I have it fully in my mind that I'm going in this direction, like think right now, what's causing all this fear in the market? A lack of certainty. And what a great leader
Yeah.
does is they provide certainty in uncertain moments. And when you quit your job like that, what the message was I am certain I'm going all in on this. I
Yeah.
am certain this is going to work. I'm doing this with mass intent. So your
Correct.
friends around you, your wife, your family, looked at you in a different set of
Yeah.
eyes than if you were like, all right, well, I'm going to kind of do this real estate thing on the side. I'm going to focus on my job, but I'm going to try to do a
Oh,
deal
that's
over
a
here.
very good
That's
point, Connor. Yeah.
and then so like when you think about it, intent plus a safe environment plus painting the picture that their future can be better. So creates people coming to you. So
Yeah.
if I see someone that's moving in this direction, I want to get behind and move in the direction they're going.
Yeah.
But they also have to be a compassionate person and respectful. So having a safe environment, meaning you can't just be you're going to run people away from you. So you can't just be on this war path and then destroying
Yeah.
everybody along your way. You have to help all parties rise. So as Aditya helps other people become successful,
Yeah.
people see this, and other people see intent, a safe environment, testimonials, good words, and they see that people came around into his life and people's lives bettered around it, and they want to have that better life for themselves too. And that's when people attract to you. Instead of chasing business, you're attracting business to you because the person you become is an attractive person. And there's not many left of them in the world because people are not trying to develop themselves into that person. So I watched Aditya's journey. I developed myself into a different person. I've seen a lot of people go from broken in all ways, financially, spiritually, relationship wise, health wise, to going down personal education, reading the books, developing themselves, and 5 to 10 years later, they're a multimillionaire. They have a brand new family like Aditya now as a kid, new addition to family, paid off his dad's debt, and now they're a massive impact for the community and an inspiration for others. So you can do this too, guys. Aditya and I are nothing special. We just did it. We just started posting, and here he is today. So let's go into like the type of content you're posting.
Sure.
First off, like you're doing all the platforms. Where do you think most of your business comes from? Is it which platform, and is it more from short form or long form, or kind of what do you
So,
think if people are one focus to
I'm,
kind of
I'm
really?
I'm still trying to differentiate, but the first
Yeah,
few years, heavy business came from YouTube.
YouTube.
The first 2 to 3 years, and now it's hard to differentiate. Where actually people saw me, because I feel like both long form and short form is important. That's why like I'm doing both simultaneously. Of course, short form I'm doing more.
Yeah,
I do 5 to 7 short form videos every week, and 1 or 2 long form videos. So people are watching, because short form videos are becoming like more um, viral quicker than long form, so more visibility. But the trust, especially for real estate, the biggest thing what we need is the trust to trust that this guy can help me with this big decision, because it's someone's, a family's, one of the biggest decision of buying or selling. It's one of the biggest decision in their financial life.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
for that, we as a realtors has to gain a solid trust. So reels will give some basic trust. It doesn't give like enough information or enough elements to connect to you. So but that will be giving a visibility for you. And if you have some other long form videos like my YouTube channel, so on my Instagram and TikTok, everywhere we post saying check out full video here, or go check out for more helpful videos, check out here. And also the SEO on the YouTube side, like when someone's searching for Windsor, Ontario, pros and cons, cost of living, this and that, so our videos popping up. So now in the long form, they're seeing me for longer time, my expressions, my way of conviction. And you put it in a very, very well said manner, how important to be that personality who attracts. And having a strong personality where who believe in what they're doing. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, people cannot track. So how do I convey that to the audience is the YouTube long form videos, because the short form I cannot convict completely. So I'm doing it's hard for me to differentiate both are
Yeah.
kind of
They go
um,
they go hand in hand.
yeah,
I didn't know if like you were going to run like doing like it's straight from short form like on IG or anything like that. But like if you want to think of it, guys, like think of like a movie, blockbuster movie, right? Short form
yeah,
content's like the movie trailer, and the movie is the
yeah,
full form video. So the trailer
yeah,
is going to create the attention to get you to the movie, and then the
yeah,
movie is going to build the relationship because now you have time to be in front of them. But it's where there's so many people getting on social media now, which is what they're supposed to be doing, what you should be doing. If you're cold market lead, meaning you're coming across a random person that you don't know, the investment of time you give that new video is a lot less as far as the risk taking nature and what most people want to do in the beginning. So like, let's say it's a 3-hour podcast, a 1-hour podcast, a 30-minute video, 5 to 7 minute normal long form video, a 60-second reel or 7-second reel. What has the biggest risk and what has the lowest risk for the future person watching the video? Because they're sharing their time, and their time is value of some type. It can turn into money, relationships, opportunities. They can put that time wherever they want. So you're not going to have a lot of people just stumble across your videos and give you a full hour right away, unless you really get into something interesting right on the front.
yeah,
But what you will do is you'll get a lot of people that will give you 20 seconds, 40 seconds, and then if you catch their attention and you trigger them somehow, you hit that
yeah.
emotion, you create curiosity, then they're going to go start watching your little bit longer form, and that's where it can kind of trickle up. But what do you think as far as like posting patterns? You say you're doing about 5 to 7 shorts, and then how
Yeah.
many do you think you should be posting for your long form? And
I mean,
what do you think
as
about
an agent, as an active agent and running a team, it gets harder to, come up with the topics and, do a lot of long form videos. So as of now,
Yep.
I'm doing one, sometimes
Well,
two in a week, because, long form takes quite a bit of time and research,
yeah.
the topic has to be valuable, because, doing just some random things, it's not going to help. Because if it's not helpful for, if at least, 100 people or 10 people watch it full video, then what's the point even making the video? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to do at least, like, my minimum target is one long form video, 5 to 7 short form videos. And the short form videos goes everywhere. The cool thing with short form videos, like you said, the trailer, but the trailer has to be now with this cool thing with the short forms. Exact same video now can be posted on YouTube Shorts, now can be posted on TikTok, now can be posted on LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere.
Yep. What do you think as far as like I've seen you doing lots of different short form content, some you're out in the field, some you're, doing talking heads at your desk, and, lots of different types of strategies. Where are you seeing right now, like the most engagement, like the ones that seem to be getting a lot of traffic as far as like views and engagement? What type
Yeah.
of content is it when you're out in the
So
properties or?
interesting thing is, like, I have the majority of the engagement I got from is like one, the mindset related videos where,
That's cool.
a lot of common people can understand. One video that got like million plus views on Instagram was like, I said, don't buy a car for next 3 years if you're in this situation. So it's like a common simple suggestion. And I was also like, saying another video recently started getting more engagement is like, don't just rent an apartment for yourself, instead rent it with an option to sublease, so you can bring your cost down, so you can save up for money for the house. So things that many common people can understand, can you're making them to think.
Yeah.
That is one area. And another area that I'm always getting engagement is like the property tours, because one thing, everyone wants to see properties, but if you showcase it in a different way than many other people, like if it's a regular, just like a regular realtor, this is the kitchen, this is the washroom, those not getting engagement. But if you showcase the property with a different, your personality touch, that if you see one style get more engagement, then you do more of those type of style. So for me, one style of reels, like I go into any investment property, I pick some highlights about the property. So I just like literally do a selfie video on my phone saying, hey, the property you're seeing here, this can make you $3,000 cash flow, or this is who said 1% rule doesn't exist, check out this property. This is located in so and so location, this is the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. Like in the 30 seconds I give a very high level uh, idea with the b-rolls and all. Those reels also getting quite a bit of engagement.
Yeah. Now you said something there. I don't even know if you caught it. You may recognize this, but you said there's two that went viral. What did they start with? Is like, don't buy a car and then don't
Yeah,
something else.
yeah,
Now this is something that most people don't talk about or even identified. My most viral videos came with a negative keyword as well.
yeah,
One's called 9 types of houses to never buy, and then one was never buy mobile homes or something like that. So I'm using the word never buy mobile homes. 9 types of houses never buy. That's a negative keyword. So
yeah,
he used don't buy.
yeah,
The other ones that are really good keywords to catch engagement on thumbnails or in titles, something like they lied to you, or they lied, or they're
yeah,
lying to you. Failure, why you're failing, failed because people don't want to fail. And then, so when you think about it, what do people want to do? What you tell them to do and order them to do. So if I say, go do this, people are just going to do it. No, they
yeah,
usually do the opposite.
yeah, I give.
So when you say, don't do this, like people are trying to figure out, what should I go do? Basically. Right.
Yeah,
So like, use those negative keywords. For some reason, it attracts the mindset.
it's
It's
a
a
lot.
risk.
Yeah,
I think it has to do with like risk and just how our brains work. Because if you think about
yeah.
like path least
When
resistance
someone
raw
says
is,
don't do it, then you question one. Either
yeah,
you argue with them saying, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking?" or the other one is like, "Oh, he's right." But those videos, actually 80% of them are negative comments. Like, what do you mean don't buy a car? Like, how can I live in North America without a car? It's snow everywhere. I'm like, I
yeah.
lived for 4 years without a car.
And you just got to always be like thinking. So like while we're on the podcast, I'm writing down notes to go into questions, but I also just wrote a video idea down. You're going to see me put this out. So I just bought a new truck, and I bought a Rocky Ridge Ram, and a lot of people get the Ram TRX. And I'm going to put a video that says, don't buy the Ram TRX, which is what a lot of people think, because when they're side by side, you're going to realize that the Rocky Ridge is a lot better, because I was going to get the TRX and then I got the
That's a
Rocky
good
Ridge.
idea.
But and the reason why I thought that is because I put a video out with that truck a few weeks ago, and it got like quite a few views. So there's already attention around those keywords. People are looking at it, and then to put the negative keyword, and then to put it saying don't do this to a large market share, meaning who looks at the TRX, or don't
Yeah.
eat meat, or don't be a vegetarian, like anything like that, or don't
Oh
become a
my
real
God,
estate
that
agent in
opens up a lot of topics
2023.
for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
So
ever
I
get
have
your
to make a
license in
video
2023.
about saying, don't buy a Tesla.
So what do you now it's important, because like I was never the best with lighting and audio and working on it. I'm just so busy. I'm a real entrepreneur just like you. But like where do you think, like I did pretty good on like understanding the algorithms and optimization and
Mhm.
having a genuine message to people. And my mentality when I built Investor Army was, here's a problem in my business, here's how I solved it, hopefully you can solve it doing what I did. And that's kind of how I built the channel. But what do you think is like the most important part of like what you focus on with your content? Is it the optimization side, understanding how the algorithms work? Is it the message in the video? Is it the editing? Is it the thumbnail title and the click-through rate? Like, where do you think people mess up, and where do you think like the main focus should be on to make
So,
sure it's dialed in?
if I have to be very brutally honest, I'm still figuring out the SEO part.
Yeah.
I still, I'm not good at my video guy. He's also still learning, and I'm okay with it, because one thing is, biggest thing, we are not trying to become the social media stars. We are trying to become the local star where people can trust you to buy and sell. A lot of the times, especially realtors who are trying to make this content to generate leads, they focus on the views and engagement. I got leads even when I had only 100 people watching videos. I didn't had more
Yep.
than, until for 1.5 year, I didn't get 1,000 subscribers. The what do you call that in YouTube? There was
Monetized.
monetization here, right? So I didn't get monetized for 1.5 year, but I still didn't give a F about those things,
Yeah.
because I'm getting already leads, because people who already seeing this, out of just 100 views. Imagine, like, if you're talking on a stage, if 100 people watching you, even one person sign up, is that's all enough for you to make a business today.
Yeah.
And you can serve that client very well, so now you can get 10 more business from that lead. So the mindset for me was, I never, yes, I want always, to grow the engagement more faster. I always think for, okay, what kind of content that I can make so I can get more engagement. So I was always looking for, like you said, negative topics. So that's where, when I was researching, oh, what kind of, the first 3 seconds, 4 seconds hooks that I can use, so that videos can get more engagement. So I was looking in
Yeah.
that terms, but the focus was always, how can I solve someone problems? What are some of the questions that people have related to real estate that I can provide solution, so that I'm giving them the value before even asking for a business. So the more value I give, the more value they get, they're going to call me for the help. So
Right.
that was my basic, always the fundamental. Yes, once in, always, like, I'm thinking to grow, but always the basic core fundamental is what people have problems with, what kind of questions people have, how can I answer those questions, so that they get some value from it, and in return, at some days, I'll get the value back,
Yep.
but not
I mean, if you can
expecting
show,
that.
yeah, in videos, like in sales, we're trying to sell the future. If you can show someone that they can either increase their income, leverage their time, decrease their time, or improve positive emotions, or reduce negative emotions, you're going to have a conversion. So we're doing the same thing on social media. We're trying to film a video in the present that they're going to watch in the present that can show them in the future solving a problem, eliminating fear, helping them make money, get out of debt. Any of these things are going to keep people coming back and having returning viewers. Now, one of the things that's like, see someone like Aditya that's got, these big channels, he's just super humble because, he's got like pretty big following, and for him to not really see where the leads are coming from and all this, that's a product of going really fast. Like if you ask like a billionaire what their net worth is, they have no idea, because they've got investments going up and down all the time and everything's interacting. But also the algorithms are changing, and it's hard to kind of know what's working, and if you're not staying on top of it. And you mentioned like a hook there. Now hooks are great as far as like most people think traditionally in the engagement process of the video to create watch time to keep them past, the algorithm of 50% watch time. But what I'd urge you guys to look into now going forward, and I'm doing a lot more research on this as I'm getting back more into social media heavy, and will be over the next few years, thumbnails are not as relevant as they were once, as we now have autoplays, and as you put as you're scrolling through and you hit and it hovers and it starts playing. So what you really need to think about, because when I'm really trying to grow my social media, what I do is I catch myself when I'm actually doing my own viewing behaviors. So when you're watching YouTube, I go through, I'm not looking at the thumbnail, the video auto plays, and I'm watching that first 5 to 7, 8 seconds of the beginning of the video that they're auto playing before I click on the video to decide if I want to click that video. So we just talked about how short form content is a trailer leading to the video, which is the movie. Well, think about that on a video is where the thumbnail is. You hover over it, now it starts playing. So what that means is you need to have an aggressive hook. You need to do something like a high energy. Think about Mr. Beast, how he talks, how he's super high impact in the first few seconds. You need to show something that's not going to run them away, but entice them in that first little 5-second window, because they're going to actually watch the clip. They're not just clicking on the thumbnail like they used to. So it's very important to understand that first 5 to 7 seconds, you should be talking your main keyword into it that you're going to rank for, but also some type of high energy, emotion, solving problem, and get right into it. Because if they watch that and you're just like, hey guys, here's the show, blah, blah, they're going to skip past it. So it's super important. But I mean, we're
Yeah,
gonna
but also on top of it, this is one of the Mr. Beast saying always, and that's what he's like my role model when it comes to content creation. He
yeah,
says, yes, you need to know all these things, but the biggest thing that helped him all the time is like he is always working on making the best video possible, trying to improve
yep,
one thing at a time, every video, making the best possible video. I think, so same thing for us as realtors, giving the best possible value in the video is what the most important, with all these SEOs hooks, that is the add-on layer to make it more sweeter.
yep. Also, just like, a good question to ask yourself before you go into the video is this going to help somebody? Because if
Yeah,
it's not, then why would they watch it? And I think a lot of time, especially agents and investors, we're going so fast and we're doing a million things, having our family and our businesses, and we know we have to stay up with the algorithms and the posting patterns, and sometimes we're forcing stuff out. And myself, I've done it. I get it. Like, we do it. We put out content that has no message, is not really helping people. It sounds good. The words are sounding like it may help, but it's not really helping them. But if you can
yeah,
do something where they actually watch your video and then go out there and apply it in the marketplace and get a listing or get a deal or recruit an agent or sell a product, they're coming back to your channel forever. So really, if you want a long-term growing channel, you need to have results coming from it. You can't just put out the same thing. If you're going to sell courses, you can't just sell that first course and make $1 million and never help people sell it and become a business owner, because the second course you put out, you have 0 repeat sales and everybody's telling how your product was crap and not helping you. So the main thing is, if you want to grow a following, the content that you're putting out needs to be able to be consumed and applied and have a result from it. And if they have that positive result, they're going to follow you forever, essentially. Like, I've got people that, and usually what's cool is you've been on YouTube long enough now that you probably feel this, that sometimes like 2-3 years later, people reach out and they're like, hey man, I never told you this, but like, I watched that video and it helped me do like 5 deals and I got out of debt and all this type of stuff. And you don't see all that, but those people are following you forever, essentially, because you
yeah,
helped them. But
exactly.
well, we got maybe 5-10 minutes here. What do you want to go into? Is there anything specific you want to go into as far as like your focus is on social media? Anything you've seen change, or kind of any just
I mean,
nuggets?
one thing that is, market situations change, right?
Yeah,
Lot of the times, we as agents, when we see, it's kind of a depressing market where the transactions take much longer, because especially the realtors like me who got in when the market was very hot, to see things very slow now, it's very depressing.
yeah,
Even I got caught to that depression moment. Like first 3 months when the market, like in 2022 April, market was the peak, and from 2022 May, June, July, it was like very slow. All of a sudden, everyone is scared. The interest rates are going up, so
yeah,
it's haven't stopped for until now. The market is still slow, but one thing in that first 2-3 months I realized is like, what all these top realtors do, why they are still selling, versus who are like us who haven't seen the down market. Because I always talk to this more experienced realtors who've been in the business for like 20-30 years. you know they have a lot more wisdom. And one of the wisdom words that I heard from one of the agent here is like, hey, kiddo, you didn't see this, the real slow market. This is actually still a speed market. Maybe because you
yeah,
started at the time when the transactions are going in a day too, you are feeling this is a slow market. But trust me,
yes,
3 months is the average selling time in those days. So that's when I started to think, okay, you know what? The market has changed. What are the things we have to change ourselves? What kind of action plan we can have in order to continue to generate the same results or better results? So changing the mindset when the times change, instead of like changing the career, what could you do different? What else can you do in order to continue to thrive in this market? Because the down markets will create the most strongest men and also wipe out all the weaker men and women, both.
Yeah, and it's so important what you said there. So I call it the law of comparison, meaning you had the super hot market and you don't know how hot it is or how good it is until you have a relationship between other experiences. So the comparison effect across them. So like if I said to eat, I'm gonna something I say you've never eaten a steak before, and I give you a steak, you can eat that steak. You're gonna know how does it taste in relationship to that steak, meaning in your pre-existing food that you've already eaten. Does this taste good enough to swallow? Do I like it or do I want to spit it out? Do I hate it? So that's kind of your basic understanding at that one point. Now, if I give you two other steaks, now you have three of them. I give you one that's like way better and one that's way worse, and now you have a range. Now, because you've eaten three against each other, you can compare them and have a relationship of understanding between them. So if we don't have a comparison effect, we don't have enough ability to decipher, anything really. Is this a good market, a bad market? What's going on? So, and like, I don't think people realize that they've been, in a super hot market, if they just came in over the past few years, that seemed to them like normal. Now, because this is what would normally be like a normal market, it seems way lesser, and that it's like, the end of the world to them. But really, I mean, you guys have every opportunity to create an income in any market. So you're talking about, people, changing jobs and strategies and things like this and business models. And this is what I give you guys as far as advice, that when things get frustrating for you, what do we want to do first? We want to move away from that frustration. We want to move away from what we feel is lack of control. And so the first thing we do is we don't look internal on how to fix the situation inside. We look external for what can we blame or point to? Is it God? Is it government? Is it the company I'm at? Is it the industry? Is it the interest rates? Is it, my family, my spouse, how I look, whatever it is. These are all external things. And when people move from like, brokerage to brokerage or real estate to insurance and job to job and switching jobs or moving from partner to partner, what it says to me is that they're not understanding that they're thinking moving the environment is going to change the problem that they're facing, but the problem that they're facing is internal because it's the person who they are, not what they're doing. And so you see them go to this brokerage, that brokerage, and that brokerage, that brokerage, and it takes 5 or 6 before they realize it's not where they're at, it's who they are. And then they finally dial in and start working on themselves, and that's when everything changes. Same thing with like relationships. You've seen this with people. I was like 5 wives or whatever, and they keep getting divorced. Well, eventually it's not all the wives, it's them. They need to change themselves, or vice versa. So if you guys are currently in this tough thing, I had to do this early in my life. If you're having lots of fights right now and problems with lots of people, maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe it could be, think about it. And maybe if you change, people around you will change. And I think everybody's waiting for things around them to change, environments to change, other people to change, for them to change. They're saying, well, if the market turns around, interest rates drop, then I'm going to put more time into my business. Well, when the market heats up, that's not how it works. You do it now, and all you can control is what you do on a daily basis. You can't control anything else. So just get up and focus on your effort as far as activity on a daily basis, and do what you would do in any market, hot or cold, anything in between, but control your activity on a daily basis, and the results are going to end up the best they can be. But if you're changing your activity and your efforts and things because of the media putting fear into you, interest rates going down, you're going to change in the present, which is actually going to change your future results. So the only thing is show up every day and stay focused on your goals and work, and let everything kind of play out the way it's supposed to play out. But don't make radical changes and think you need to just completely start over in certain areas, because this is going to, no storm lasts forever. We're going to come out of this hopefully in a year and a half, hopefully, in new market. But those that battle through the downside of the market, people always ask, how do you time a market? You never leave the market. So they're like, how did these people get these perfect time in the market? You work all the way through and you grit it through and you pay your sacrifice, you take in the pin, you get punched in the face. And as soon as it comes out, you're still in the game. You're right there at the bottom of the market. Now, all the people that took time off and now when they see the media a year later, 2 years later, heating up, now they're going to jump back in. They're way behind. They have to start building their business again, start getting everything set up, getting that, a momentum going, and now they're far behind. So the way that you're going to capitalize on this is to fight all the way through it, and then to gain that big bull run from the bottom all the way out of it. But well, man, I think it's going to help a lot of people. And I want you guys to go over check out his YouTube channels and his IG. It's just your personal name, right? Both
it's the same name that you see on the screen, Aditya Kumar Soma.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a lot of great content on there, and make sure to go check him out. And is there any anything else that you're doing that you want them to follow you on, or any websites or anything you want them to go check out?
Maybe I'll leave a last small message. I believe this in strongly. I'm just an average person with some dreams. So if I can do it, you can do it too. It's not a rocket science. It's just you got to put in the work, right work.
Yeah,
And
I
you
love
will
it
be able to
because
make it.
yeah, people see you on social media and see you on stage and people like me and all that. And I don't think and I did this when I had not become successful. I'm looking afar. I'm like, what's special about these people? What's different? How did they do it? None
Yeah.
was special about me. All we did
Yeah.
was do the work. And so like, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't live my own story. And I actually was here watching Aditya's entire story. He was still working 9 to 5, had not even, he had like you said, like
Yeah.
a couple rentals. And that was it. And I watched his entire journey over the past 5, 6 years. It's been about 5 years. And so he
Yeah.
went from 9 to 5 to multimillionaire, family
Even
growing. Yeah.
forgetting about the 9 to 5. I'm a kid from a small village in India, had
Yeah.
no clue. If you would have told me what I'm making now, the lifestyle I'm having now, this is a fairy tale for me. I never even dreamed of. I always wanted, but coming from that small village, no other external influences. No special skills, no special knowledge, no special, support or anything. If I able to do it without any of the special, if you have some special skills, that means you can do way more better. So just have that leap of faith.
Yeah.
If someone can do it, and with a zero knowledge, zero connection, zero visibility, you can do it too.
Yep. So there's a book, what's called Immigrant Edge. I just had one of my other partners on here, Mihai Gutu. You guys can check out that podcast when it comes out. He came over here from Moldova. He was a waiter, came over here, was working construction, doing trucking businesses, and now he does $20 to $30 million in sales a year, is building a team, and he's super successful. And a very similar story. So you
Yeah.
see this happen all the time where people immigrate over here. Maybe give your message to, if this trickles out to a global marketplace, and there's some young individuals watching this overseas, maybe in your inspiration of your story, like to come over here. And then also, if someone's already over here that is, immigrated over here, maybe some inspiration for them. And then what would you say for an American that's native, as far as your understanding of the opportunity they have, that maybe, I think Native American,
Yeah.
like not native, but like people that grew up natively here, they take it a little bit more
Yeah.
for
So
granted. I've
for
seen people that
for
immigrate here
for
see.
for the immigrants, I would say, look, don't let your dreams die, because I have seen only
Right.
very few immigrants make it, because 80-90% of the immigrants, they give up on their dreams, because this is not my land. This is, I don't know too many people. What if I go do that, no one supports me. So this fear is a lot in immigrants, because new land, right, new things. So don't give up on your dreams. That's for my message for immigrants. And for locals, man, you guys born with a, you're in an opportunity land, and the language, the culture. So it's much easier for you to excel in any industry. So only the difference is you put in the work, the right work, the work that can get you closer to what you want. So don't, instead of like, one thing you said in the earlier in the video is like, make yourself differentiate from other people by not complaining about the things that is happening to you. Rather, if something happened, like for me, the debt I went through, it was actually my dad's debt because of my sister's wedding. So I was really like upset about it. But one mindset that I thought, this happened, what do I do in now? So if I would have just keep on bitching about, my dad didn't make money, he just made me pay for my sister, why should I do all these things? If I would have just keep on complaining, I would not have get ahead in life. But because of that one thing happened, I switched my mindset. Okay, what can I do to get out of it? So we all can have a better life. So
Yeah.
things happen to me. How you react to it? I reacted with a mindset of let me change it, instead of why the f happened to me. So if you're with that mindset, trust me, no matter who you are, you have a bright future.
Yep. This is
That's
why, yeah, Napoleon, that's really good. And we'll end it here, but that's some good advice there. So like you guys know Napoleon Hill, and what is he always talking about? PMA, positive mental attitude. And the reason why is because nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy or Karen all the time. It's always whining and bringing everybody down. They want to be around people that are bringing people up. And so if you can control your emotions and create a positive environment, people will naturally come over to you and stay around you. But if you create negative environment. Now, this is a thing I've been talking about a lot, and you can take this to DDM, create some content if you want to use this. Is the thought, I call it thought occupation expenses, meaning let's say you have 1,000 thoughts a day just as a finite number to measure. How many thoughts you have going to, how do I attract partners? How do I train partners? How do I help my family? How do I, positive things, benefiting, income producing activities, versus, oh my gosh, the world's ending and interest rates are up. Oh my gosh, this partner, and, thinking the negative stuff, and talk. The more of your thoughts on a daily basis that go to this direction is going to increase your income as compared to going the other direction. So the choice of where you put your thoughts has a direct impact to your business. So I tell you guys, if you're thinking about these and dwelling on competition, on, risk or any fear or anything, those are thoughts and attention that you can't get back. And what's the thought of how much time does that take? But think about the expense of a single thought. One thought Aditya had, I'm going to quit my job and go into real estate full time, led into becoming a multimillionaire. So what if he was dwelling on fear and doubt and all this, and is telling himself the wrong thoughts? His thought was, I believe in myself enough to take the risk to go do this. That one thought led him to here. Whereas the opposite thought on the other side of the spectrum, positive and negative, is, I don't believe in myself enough to take the risk to quit my job because it's not going to work out for me anyways, because it never does anyways. And everything always goes bad and I'm cursed and all this type of stuff. So those two different thoughts, it will work out versus it won't work out, is the difference on whether you show up and put the time in and take the risk. And then, so it is so important, guys, that your thoughts lead to your emotions lead to your attitude, and your attitude leads to everything around you. I mean, people coming to you and staying around you and wanting to be around you and talk about you and promote you and provide referrals and not get divorced and kids love you and all that type of stuff. But I'm excited, man. This is a good podcast. I actually enjoyed it. I'm gonna get this out, and then if there's anything I can ever do for you, just let me know. But other than that, thank you for coming on here and sharing your story, and I'll see you guys on the next one.